Okay. Hey, 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 everyone. It is your host, Conscious TV. Welcome to the live. I am live, loud, and in melanated color. Okay? I want you guys to come on in, press that thumbs up, share, and share, and share, and share, and share. Okay? We're going to get into a real conversation today. This conversation obviously was inspired by some of the recent events that have transpired over the past 2-3 weeks or so. Lots of things are coming full circle. And I think this conversation would be healthy, and I think it's important to have because it just is, okay? Now, I got two special guests with me today. You guys already know who both of these individuals are, okay? We're going to go into some teams, and we're going to let all that black girl, black boy, all this magic in the air do what it does. Now, I also want y'all to really share the stream out. That means that as I'm seeing the numbers go up, I need to be seeing the numbers going down because y'all are dropping the hell off to go share on your Grindr, on your Jack, on your A4A, on your BGC, your Facebook, your MySpace, your Twitter, your Instagrams, your all of the above Gmails. I want you to step outside the front door and scream out into the neighborhood that Conscious TV is mother effing live. Get the word out. I also want to say that we are late because Larry broke black behind, didn't pay his blog talk phone bill. So the operator surely came the hell on and tell us we indeed had a disconnected damn number. So Larry Reid had to pillage through all them outdated ass credit cards to find his my vanilla card to pay that bill with. So now we are here, okay? So with no further ado, I'm going to invite my guest into the show, and then we're going to have the conversation. Larry, Andrea, Garrison, are you there?
Hey.
I'm here.
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the platform. I thank you guys for being willing to have this conversation. I will imagine that it's going to be kind of a crap show in the comment section because there's still lots of intense feelings as it relates to the audience around a lot of the controversy that played out over the past few months that we're now beginning to clean up, and which is why I think this conversation is really important. I kind of am going to let Larry lead us into that conversation now that he's there, and we'll just let it roll out from there.
Well, one of the reasons why I thought it would be good to have a show like this is because it just appears. I mean, I've done 3-part YouTube Streets Beef on my platform, and on that last day, I mean, for me, it was pretty eye-opening. Probably this past week was pretty eye-opening at some different occurrences and things that happened. Probably some weeks ago, whenever Andrea, I done told the story, she hit me up. And first, you the one that told me that Andrea hit you up and that she apologized to you. And then she hit me up and she apologized to me. And likewise, I apologized back to her. And we just been keeping it 100. You know, the hatchet was buried and life just moved on. I was tempted at the time, you know, to begin to say, well, you said this, you said that, you said this, you said that. And I did a little bit, you know. Then she said, oh, yeah, I did say that, you know, I'm sorry. Or she said, oh, I don't remember saying that, you know. And she said, but, no, I'm sorry. And I started to go down the line, and Andrea can say if this is true or not. I was like, well, you know, it don't even matter. I said, you know, I said some stuff. I'm sorry I called you a vixen, you know, because I feel like you were moving like a fox. So I'm sorry. And we just let it go, you know, and started over. Now, I am going to say we did have a relationship prior to this moment. So all of you out there that's listening that I'm not trying to tell everybody that this is how you got to handle every situation in your life, and if you don't, then you immature or selfish. It's just that where I'm at 42 years old and all the different stuff that I've been through, I can be like, you know what? Yeah, you said this, yeah, you said that, but I'm more interested in keeping my humanity unfractured, and more interested in getting to know people and move forward people and work in teams, work in groups, and assist people, and they assist me. And, I'm just more into that right now at this space in my life. And Andrea is, I know people say what they say in the comments, but I have my own dealing with Andrea. And when the rubber meets the road, if you want somebody that's going to fight for you, that's going to be in your corner, if you want somebody that is going, to take your advice and implement it, you take theirs and implement it, and just be an all-around good, cool person. That's what I experienced with Andrea. Now, I know we had ups and downs. Everything wasn't great. We had some disagreement, had some things, that happened, but y'all would have never knew about it. Would have never been public. You didn't know until it became public. And we had known each other a year from change. I just want to use that situation, her apologizing to me apologizing to her apologizing to you, and really lead this whole campaign of reconciliation and resolve. And Conscious, you've always been that person since I've known that was always in the center of resolve and reconciliation. You've done that I don't know how many times on your platform, bringing clarity and things of that nature. So I say, I think this will be a great conversation to have, and maybe everybody begin to move into that space. That's what I think.
Absolutely. I understand. So I guess, Andrea, I would love for you to speak to the people, and for you, I guess, to tell your side of the events that transpired, particularly as it relates to me and Larry, and what brought you to make your apology, which I received with the entirety of my soul, because the way that you stood in your message to me privately, and then when I also saw you openly in front of your peers and in front of the YouTube audience on the Other Boys platform, of Fupa in a Treehouse, I couldn't do anything but just absolutely put total respect on your name, and just absolutely just receive that with everything inside of me. So I really, really, it said a lot about you. It said a lot about your character, a lot about your integrity. I can imagine what the commenters are going to say as I'm saying that in the comment section, but it's not really how people start that I define them. It's really how they finish. And so your ability to just really show up in who you really are, which is someone who stands in your truth, that shit was mad beautiful. It was mad integral, and I absolutely love you for that. But I guess taking it back to the back, can you just take us back and then move us up to how you got here?
I mean, more or less. I mean, we're not saying names, right? We already know.
Well, I mean,
am I
you can
speaking
speak.
around how we?
No, you can speak your mind, just speak your mind and just, say your experience.
I mean, I'll just say it like this. Basically, when it came to Larry, when I went to the other platform that I went to, I really didn't go in malice. I really went because Larry and I were having differences, which Larry knows. I even went to him and told him that I had thought about going to the other platform, and Larry didn't have nothing bad to say about it. So when I saw Larry going off on me in Patreon, obviously I started going off because I didn't really know why he was going off. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really know, why is this man going off on me in Patreon? What did I do? Only to find out that a video that was done with this other platform was chopped and screwed, because the original video that was put up on Instagram, it got I asked for that video to be taken down because the person was dragging Larry. And I was like, yo, like, I really got in him. And I was like, yo, you need to take that down. He told me he took it down, but he did, but he took it down and he edited it and made it look like I was saying things that I wasn't. Well, then when there was a video that was done between me and the cigar blogger, you had saw where I had pretty much addressed that with the other blogger, like, isn't this what happened? Then I asked you to take that down because you was dragging them. I was not the one dragging them. They admitted to it. They said yes. But I didn't know that Larry was given an edited version of that video. So I naturally just started going off on Larry because Larry went off on me, and I was wrong. And when I found out the truth, it just didn't sit well with me. So I just was like, you know what? I was wrong for that. Like, I was dead ass wrong, and I was in this process still dealing with my own personal case, and I can't expect someone to be held accountable for their actions if I won't even hold myself accountable for when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I was really feeling that because I don't feel that what I'm going through is just a natural thing. It's a spiritual warfare, too, in my opinion. So I feel like if I do anything negative, it's going to affect my personal case that I got going on. So I apologized to him. And then it came, same thing to you, where you and I and the other person had a conversation on the phone. And then that conversation got twisted when I hung up. Things were said, but I wasn't privy to the conversation because I had already hung up the phone. It was brought to me one way, and then I found out that you had leaked it, the audios, and I went and listened to it, and I addressed it with the person. The person continued to lie. They tried to say, yeah, you did say, I didn't say that, but they were like, but that's not what I heard. Because I was like, well, how did you say that he said that if he's saying he didn't? And that's like two total different things. Like, you can't really get that confused on what was said, And when I found out the truth, I felt that I had no right but to come to you and apologize to you because I didn't even know you. So there was really technically no reason for you and I to ever have any type of beef because we didn't know each other. We had a 2.5-second conversation that didn't go well because I went in already defensive, which I can own that. I was definitely defensive coming into the conversation because of things that were already, put in my head. And granted, I'm responsible for what I receive. Granted, I'm responsible for what I believe. But it is what it is. I chose to believe that. And I was wrong. And when I saw that I was wrong, I felt that I had to come to you.
I don't mean to jump in there. Are you actually talking into your phone, Andrea? You sound a little far away. But see, that's the part where I put my focus.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, way better now. Way better. But the thing, that's where I put my focus. I don't know about you, Conscious, is, okay, I understood what she said, how the information she got wasn't proper, how the video was done, and things of that nature. I get all that. But when she called me, she didn't even say all of that. She was saying to me, I did. Well, that's things.
True. Yeah.
I said things, and that's what you call you said a certain kind of way, Conscious, but I'm paper Bible saved. I don't say it like that. You call it standing in your.
Well, because I didn't place any blame. When I came to both of you, I didn't come to you. I was just giving you as a backstory because you have the backstory.
Yeah.
But yes, when I came to you, even though we all knew what happened, like I said, when I went to Conscious, I said, hey, I heard the real audio. That's not how, I didn't even go in detail what was said. I just said that's not how it was presented to me. I apologize. And I owned to what I did. And then I went public without your pushing, without Consciousness pushing. Nobody asked me to go public. I did that on my own because my disrespect was public.
Too.
So
but see, that was
another
thing.
My disrespect was public. I had to give you your respect back publicly because that's what I wanted from Victor. So I felt if I'm requesting it from him, I got to do it too.
Wow.
But see, this
Andrea,
is
I don't even know. I don't even know who Andrea. I don't even know who the hell you are right now. Like you just, I don't even know who you are. I just.
But let me.
I'm blown listening to you.
But let me say this though, because I knew Andrea before everybody.
Yeah.
We had our own back and forward in a whole lot of different situations, and when the rubber met the road, this is what she did. So this is not really new for me. It wasn't like a big, oh my God, I didn't know that she would like this, because I already seen her do this. Because remember, she had the Victor thing, she had the Nakia thing, we had a situation with Marcellus, there was another situation. Through that, then she had some stuff to go on with God, I can't think of that boy that you were dating one time. That dude, and then some other stuff. So I've seen all this. Well, then she had like her mom died, her foster mom, I think it was, during that time, and some other deaths. So I've had to deal with Andrea and a whole lot of different things. And we would get in an argument, or she would get in an argument with somebody else. And she would pop off, this person did this, and I got the text messages, and I got the proof, and this is whether you want to mess with me. And she cussing and going off, I'm just listening to her. I said, Andrea, just calm down. And I said, don't you post that on Facebook. She go post on Facebook, go live, and go off, and I come and talk to her. I said, Andrea, now you know, da-da-da, and she go take it down. Then they reconcile. So I already done seen all of them. So she didn't come to me with, that's how come I didn't hang up on her. When she called me, she said, this is Andrea, don't hang up. Because I could have tell in her voice, because I already know. I said, I know what mode she in. And we resolved it. That's why I didn't even go down that whole list of, I wasn't concerned about what information she got that made her pop off, whether it was chopped up or whatever. But that wasn't my concern. My thing was, she said, I did this, I said that, I hurt you. I'm sorry. Down there, I was like, okay, I said this. This is what I said on the live. I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry. And that was it.
Yeah.
But how come folk can't do that? Just reconciliate and resolve. And I know I'm looking at the comments, and I'm not saying y'all wrong in comments, feel the way you feel, but I'm telling you, if you keep going through some stuff and living long, you're going to have some situations and some things, people that you love and respect and may even need or like, I don't know, or family, or you look at his family, and they would never own up to what they did and say, or even agree with what you felt like they said. But at some point, you have to be able to say, you know what, this situation that I want to be right on, and I want you to pay for, and I want you to be sorry about, and I want you to confess that you lied and confess that you stabbed me in the back or confess that you jealous of me. You have put that to the side and say, that don't matter more to me than moving forward and beginning new and fresh with you. And I hate that people like that. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
But I can't change it.
Yeah. And I want to speak to that. And I also want to go back to something that Andrea said before I speak to what you just said, Larry. The audio that I recorded between me and Josh, the reason why I did that is because of what I was saying to King Josh, which, by the way, me and King Josh had a beautiful conversation. We made up totally, as Larry calls it, I put my pussy tears on. I was definitely a total gay man on our phone. It felt good to make up with somebody who I really cared about and who I loved, because I was really Job's friend. I've always been supportive of Jobs. I was aggravated. I was disappointed. I was agitated. I felt controlled out and deleted by someone who I had never done anything to. I just did not participate in feeling the way that my friend felt about another one of our mutual friends, a.k.a. Larry, and I felt like I was being demonized because I didn't share that same sentiment, and me and Josh had a very thorough conversation. Larry is a straight man, so, he don't necessarily need all the details, and he don't even really need the apology, and then he's a seasoned, secular, old man of God. And so, there's just certain things, as he said, he's lived long enough to be able to kind of skip through a lot of the middle and just kind of get straight to the end game. But for me, as a very sensitive, strong, black, young woman, I'm going to take you through and by on those details. So me and King Josh, we had a really thorough conversation. We both were really emotional. King Josh offered me a very sincere apology, and we have been well. And
he did.
I'm just, and I'm just happy to have my friend back, because that is my friend, and I don't care whether, people in the audience say Jobs is crazy, Jobs is bipolar, Jobs is my friend. We had never had no issue. We had not had no issue prior to people saying those things. And this, what happened months ago was a recipe for disaster, and I'm also fine with that because catastrophe is bound to happen when you hang on to relationships for quite some time. If you're not somebody who has short-lived friendships, you will find that there will be that it's inevitable for mishaps, miscommunication, fallout, and a whole nine to transpire. It happens in all relationships, marriages, family, and friendships. So I am not somebody who is interested in having perfect, stainless relationships. I'm only interested in having authentic, honest, real, and mature relationships. So I don't care nothing about. I mean, not that I don't care nothing about, but I'm always going to be interested. I'm always going to be for the forward moving. When it comes to people who I'm invested in and I care about because I believe in those things. Now you was about to say something, Larry.
That's a statement. I mean, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's I don't know if it's age. I don't know what it is, but that is it. I'm more interested in authentic relationships, real, whether at the time they're real. Messy or real taxing or real toxic or real good and wonderful. I'd rather just deal with real than anything. And if we need to work through the toxicity, if we need to work through being inauthentic in order for us to get to something that is great, something that is good, I'm all with that. You know, I've been through. I was married. 20 years. We've been through all sorts of changes. My closest relationship in my life, these are people I've known over 20 years apiece. Each relationship goes through changes. Vince and everybody know Buddha. It's like family to me, but he was I was a member in my church when he was a teenager, so but that's been through a whole lot of different changes and shifts. My relationship with my mom and my dad has been through a whole lot of changes. And the other family members, so I've just learned, and when I met Andrea, what she had went through at the hands of really the church and one of the church leaders. And I will be on the phone with her when she's crying. I'm seeing her dealing with fear, seeing her deal with actually some traumatic things. It wasn't until like a year she changed the end. She started opening up and telling me stuff about her being a foster child and all this other stuff she'd been through. I'm like, what? So I know her. And because I know her and I've seen her in her good times and her bad times. So when she came to me and she was like, I'm sorry, da-da-da, she didn't even say what she's saying now. She's saying now, she explained in more detail. I didn't even need all those details, the reason why you said what you said and the reason why you did what you did. I was only looking at you are owning, well, you call it standing in your SHIT. But shit. I only saw... what?
Shit.
Yeah. So I only saw that, and I was like, okay, we good, and life moved on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and going back to the recorded conversation, the only reason I had, because people had asked me too, like during the time that me and King was kind of going head to head a little bit, people asking me what made me record. I only recorded that audio because at that point there had already been a miscommunicating of information from King Jobs to Andrea. So I said, you know what? Because I said in the audio that you guys can hear, I said, King, am I going to have to write it out for you? Am I going to have to spell it out for you? You sure you're going to be able to transfer this conversation correctly to Andrea? He said, yes, Conscious. I got it. So, but, huh?
I said you told him to come back and tell me.
Yeah.
In the
audio,
are you going to go back and tell her the truth of what I really said? And he said yes.
And I even made him recite back to me what he said, like what he understood I said to him. So I just took the extra liberty of also just recording it, but I never recorded it, obviously, for the sake of it ever getting out. That was going to be something that I would bring to his attention in case he had spoke to Andrea and Andrea still didn't understand the information was still being miscommunicated, and then I was going to go back to King and say, hey, nigga, like, literally, nigga, review this conversation and tell me where you went wrong at. But once me and Andrea because she had made contact with me the next day on Facebook after that three-way call, and I was already kind of over it by that point. And so me and her never got to really have another exchange after our three-way call, aside for what happened in Facebook. And even in that Facebook message, I told Andrea, I said, look, Andrea, I really don't want you to I don't want your situation with Larry to be the situation that trumps your situation with Victor. I literally said that to Andrea, right?
You did.
I said that to you.
You did.
Yes, because I never had a issue with Andrea, but I can also understand how she came into speaking with me defensively because she's looking from the outside in. There's a situation that had already kind of happened behind closed doors between her and Larry. Then King is asking her to speak to me. She checks out my channel. She sees, oh, okay, he cool with Larry. I don't know how that's going to go. So I can understand feeling like, let me be somewhat on the defense. So it is what it is, but I never had an issue with Andrea. I'm somebody who's very capable of, like, I don't fall out with the people that my friends fall out with. That's why I was able to hold on to my friendship with Larry and King when they fell out, and I was also able to be neutral on Larry and Andrea's situation. Even when me and Larry did our interview and I allowed Larry to tell his truth in that interview about his experience with Andrea, I never co-signed anything that Larry said. I never went in on Andrea because I literally was not interested in harming Andrea in any way. I wasn't interested in having no beef with her. I didn't know her to have an issue with her. So when Andrea came to me with the apology, not only was it just superb, it was superb in nature, but it was easier to receive it because this was somebody who I never had an issue with to begin with. So why wouldn't I receive it? Why wouldn't I receive it? I didn't come in with any preconceived notion of her, even despite Larry's experience and his side of events between him and Andrea that he told on my platform. That didn't make me necessarily look at Andrea sideways because I wasn't in their relationship to know what happened from what happened. So I'm just literally hearing her side, I'm hearing his side, and I'm neutral because it ain't got nothing to do with me to begin with. So for all the people who feel like ConsciouzTv, you need to be mindful and blah, 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 getting back to what Larry was about to say about, he's saying he ain't going to say y'all wrong. I'm going to say to y'all dead ass wrong. Y'all, the LRLers, the Conscious crew, the Jive Nation, y'all are dead ass wrong, especially as it relates to Andrea, because y'all are basically asking me and Larry to be church hurt, and that's what we not. Y'all are asking us to hold on to grievances. Y'all are asking us to define people based upon what they've done instead of what they can be and what they can do. And what Andrea did was totally take full-on responsibility, not only in her words, but also in her action, in her deed. Now, let me get a little bit metaphysical with this, because I'm sorry, I don't give a damn whether it's social media or what. I don't fake the shit when it comes to spirituality, okay? When the God in somebody shows up, the God in me shows up. And compassion, forgiveness, understanding, repentance, accountability, those are attributes and expressions of the Heavenly Father. And I don't give a damn what a person has done. If they come in alignment with that for me, everything that happened is about to be clean slate, because I'm not going to deny God. And to deny somebody's full-on repentance is just wicked, it's egotistical, it's stubborn, and everybody needs to grow the hell up, especially if you call yourself being spiritual. Especially if you call yourself being a believer in repentance. Now, all of the people who don't want Andrea to be forgiven, irregardless of what she said, irregardless of what she did, irregardless of all those things, it's almost as if you're telling me that you also don't believe really in the gospel, because all Jesus Christ was in the business of, it was believing in who people actually were, which was not their unconscious selves, but their very much so conscious self. And so for Andrea to stand up as a woman and to make what she felt was right for her, without no peer pressure from the people around her, without me and Larry begging her for no apology, just in herself. She felt that was what she needed to do, and she did it privately, and she stood in front of her peers and did it. I am going to acknowledge the God in that. Ultimately, nobody lost their life in the things that Andrea did, and even fortunately, nothing but growth happened in terms of visibility and membership and Patreons since all the drama. So really, when y'all are asking me and Larry to be hell bent, we're looking at this thing and seeing what the intention might have been at some point, which was to maybe cause some damage to the platforms, but God only amplified us as a result. And so that makes it even harder for me to hold on to a grudge, because not only do I have someone here being honest and coming to me of their own fruition and telling me that they're sorry very nuancedly, but I didn't even lose anything in the process of the weapon formed against me. So what the hell am I going to be mad at? What the hell am I saying mad at? I mean, what is there to be mad at?
Yeah, and I want to say this,
because I'll pick over the whole line.
Yeah, you and Andrea talk. Y'all Scorpios just talk so darn much. In fact, this is the less talking I ever heard Andrea do. Oh, you know, but that's what I was going to say. What I meant by saying that I'm not going to make them wrong. I'm talking about their opinion, because they're on the outside looking in, and when you have people that are following you, like Andrea's family, they're gonna be concerned about Andrea. The advice and direction that anybody that she worked with is going to be giving her advice and caution as it relates to her, and that's their concern. So that's why I'm not gonna make those people wrong when they say, "Well, you don't know Reid." Well, Reid's worried about himself. You don't know Conscious. You got to stick up for yourself. You can't be used by all these people. They're not wrong. They're doing what they do. In my opinion, they're not wrong. That's their opinion. They love Andrea. LILs are going to do the exact same thing. So I'm not going to make that wrong. But I agree with you 100% Conscious when you say, when somebody say I'm sorry, and they stand, and what do you say they stand in that Conscious? They stand and they what?
They shit.
That tickles me. Well, they stand in that, and then I can deal with that. I can almost, with time, sometimes it takes more time, you can almost do anything to me. And with time, I'm going to forgive, because I love people. God has forgiven me. I don't know how I hate to even bring that aspect in there, because it sounds very religious. God has forgiven me. I've not been perfect. I just can't do that with nobody. And I hope everybody can hear me when I say that reconciliation and resolve is so important now, right now, as relates to 2020, vision and sight and seeing and the beginning of all things. I mean, this coronavirus is a blessing, because it's stopping everything, making us look at things differently, our life differently, and giving us the opportunity for a brand new start. And that's what I feel when somebody say I'm sorry. That's what they want. So why am I not going to give that to them? It's the same reason why I've been naive in some areas, and you guys say that's the reason why you signed certain paperwork. That's the whole reason why you're going to turn around and help somebody that was, everybody going to say all that kind of stuff.
I just want to interject there too, though. I just want to interject that, it's okay, because I also want to make this clear. People, please understand this, people. The righteous are going to take their blows. They're going to take their blows. The same way that everything Jesus did got him murdered. So don't expect in Satan's world to see people doing the right thing without consequence. Because in Satan's world, he's the prince of this air here. He's going to come after those who are doing the right thing, okay? And I'm glad you mentioned that because I know you can't speak on this, but I'm going to speak on it, okay? This same interest in repentance and transformation, well, first of all, it comes from your Lord and Savior, who you are modeling, Jesus Christ. As you stated, Christ, the whole gospel is around the possibility and reality of transformation inwardly and outwardly. When this whole contract situation was an attempt for Larry to help someone who had did wrong, to make it right in the rightest way it could be made, considering the circumstance, okay? So when people keep being hung up on this, he signed an NDA, he signed blah, 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 blah. He should have known better. You got to keep the context of his thinking in mind when you speak about that contract, because for him, it was an opportunity to help that individual to take responsibility for a child that no one knew existed, okay? And so here it is. You had
that's him talking, and
this is ConsciouzTv. ConsciouzTv, the baddest blogger, badder than Larry, badder than Tasha K, badder than them all, speaking, okay, for himself. But this is who Larry is, but this is ultimately who I am too, and this is obviously who Andrea is. And Andrea is admitting she lost her way. What more do you want? People you get to lose your way, okay? And the only people who are going to hold you to, you get to be mad, you get to be confused, you get to get caught up, you get to make those mistakes, you get to hear it wrong. That's why I also received King Giles back into me, because you get to do that. And yes, sometimes the collateral are the friendships, are the people you love in the midst of you working your soul salvation out. I am not so egotistical that I can't forgive you and narcissistically make what you did about me to the point that I'm going to keep my foot on your neck because you have the audacity to do it to me, because it ain't about me. We all working our soul salvation out through each other's goodness and through each other's flaws. We are all being sharpened against that.
Let me say this, because, and I want to be clear about this, because I did the same thing I did with Andrea. It's the same thing that I did with Jives. I did the exact same. I don't think Andrea said any more worse things than Jives said that I saw with my own eyes on the video. I let all that go. He didn't even have. He brought up about burning the Cadillac yesterday, whenever it was he called into my show. I didn't bring that up. I don't need no explanation. My thing is, I don't want to be in that space with Jives anymore. He's funny to me. He's a black man, and from what I understand, he's helping some of his family members. So I don't want to be in that space with him, and I think that's why people never come to me and give me inboxes telling me what he said, because they must already know Larry ain't about to hear what somebody else say. I got to see with my own eyes, So I let all of that go. In fact, today, someone that has been a LRL day oneer almost, just like Marcellus is a LRL day oneer. I reached out to them to tell them, because I felt like, I said, some of this stuff, now that I have to do what I got to do, I said, I don't want Marcellus to be involved in this, because I don't hate him. I said, so let him know that he think this about, here's the evidence, so he know that's not true. This that he think this about, here's the evidence, so he know that's not true. This is to this mutual person that we know. I said, I think he should disconnect his brand and his platform from Daryl. I said, I think he should, and just build his own thing. And so, and in the midst of us just talking about that, I'm about to go, and he said, would you be willing to sit down with Marcellus, with me mediating, so y'all can have a conversation? I said, I'm not object to that. I said, that's not what I come to you about. I come to you just to put this in this. I know he trusts you and know that you're unbiased. And he said, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm cool. He said, well, let me ask him. And then he hit me back and he said, Marcella said, that's cool. We're going to figure out a day for y'all to talk. That is the person that I am. And anybody that have watched me since 2016 on LRL and prior to that doing videos, that is me. And I really think that everybody listening to me in 2020, while we got what's going on with this coronavirus and all this kind of stuff, this is the time to settle beefs, to reconcile and to resolve. They don't mean after reconcile, because somebody said to me, they said, well, I think it's great y'all reconciling and you're doing resolving everything, but I don't want y'all to get close again. You need to be careful because you don't know what's happening. Well, that's a conversation. Boundaries are supposed to be drawn later or after. The first place is reconciliation, resolve, forgiveness, letting go. Then after that, you can decide what boundaries you want to create personally. But the first space is reconciliation, resolve, forgiveness, letting go.
Yeah, absolutely. But see, I think that's also where the line of demarcation needs to exist between observing fallouts between people, and then also, and I don't mind people saying stuff like that. Oh, like, I'm glad there's reconciliation. I'm glad that everybody's kumbaya, but don't get close to so and so. Don't get close to so and so. I'm like, okay. So here's the gag, which is why you got to know your place in all this, is you get to feel somebody is wrong because they're wrong and they're doing wrong. Okay, they're doing wrong. Then when somebody makes it right, you have to acknowledge that. But then whatever happens between those two people, whether they go on to have a friendship, whether they go on to just be associates, whether they just part ways peacefully and put the past behind them, that stuff is so subjective and personal that you can't even really give advice about that. I mean, y'all sitting here telling me and Larry to not forgive King Giles and don't get close to Andrea, and I'm not saying one of those things is going to happen over the other. I'm just saying y'all are saying these things, but a lot of y'all still stuck with a nigga who been beating your ass for the past 23 years. A lot of y'all still stuck up on the narcissistic.
That's my whole thing. That is my whole thing, Conscious. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's my whole thing.
I get
people be quick to. My whole thing is this. I can't say that was King Giles wrong for what he did. Absolutely. But was King Giles the sole person at fault for how everything transpired? Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, as an adult, I have to own my shit, like you said. And I have to say that even though King put what he put in my head, I still made the conscious decision to do what I chose to do. You know what I'm saying? So I could have listened and then chose to do the right thing, or I could have listened and snapped out. Did I know, the truth? No, but I still didn't have to do what I did. And once I realized that I was wrong, it's only right for me to apologize. And it always blows me for the people that be so quick, because, I'm the harlot of the church. I'm the Jezebel of the church. Even though I'm not in the church, I'm the harlot and the Jezebel of the church. But I'm like, I'm showing more integrity than the people that are in the church calling me the names. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, how many times have you done something that you know damn well everybody that's commenting don't deal with her? I bet you if I really dug into your life, I could find a couple days where shouldn't nobody look at you, even breathe your air that you breathe in. Y'all dealing with the same raggedy baby daddies. Y'all done slept with your baby daddy girlfriend. That's how you got them. And all types of stuff. You done stabbed somebody in the back that you shouldn't have stabbed. You done stole from somebody, lied on somebody. We all do stuff that we don't have no business doing. But since day one of me coming out, the church has always ridiculed me because I didn't look like them, because I didn't laugh like them, because I didn't smell like them, because I didn't walk like them. But in all actuality, who's more Christ-like, me or you? Because I'm not judging you for the 20 times that your raggedy ass went back to your raggedy baby daddy. And I'm just being real. Like, you can't sit here. It always blew me how the church could tell me, oh, you should read your Bible more. You should know this. You should know that. And I'm like, okay, but my life is, so because I slept with one pastor, I'm automatically just this crooked person. And because me and one blogger fell out, all of a sudden I'm just this horrible person because, like, why? Like, how many things have you done that are wrong that you haven't even stood up to and acknowledged? At least I could say when I do people wrong, even if I don't apologize that day, I always try to come back around and stand in my stuff because I can't be demanding Victor to be accountable. I can't be demanding for the people that knew that he was doing shady and stands up for me. I can't demand that from them and then do the same thing. It's hypocritical.
Yeah, I remember when you first came to me, you said when you were telling me the story, like we first had a physical conversation, because I saw your first live that you did. No, actually, it was a post. Somebody sent me your post that you made. I know now you had already done that live with the radio dude that made it viral. And then when I saw that post, I posted it on my page. I posted my page, and in that post I said something like, okay, anybody know who she talking about, da-da-da. Then you went live, but I didn't get your live. I heard about it, but I saw the Victor, he went live talking about you, throwing off on you. So in the midst of that, we still inboxing back and forth, but that's what was going on while we were inboxing back and forth. I remember we first talked, and you told me then, you said, now, I did sleep with him. I did know he was a pastor, but I thought it was just us. That's my friend. I didn't know that he had all these other chicks and da-da-da. We'll be together, not together, be together, not together. You told me that. Then you said it a whole different, more exaggerated, well, I'm going to say detailed, rather, in October 2018. So then on the show you did, and it was amazing to me that it was almost like people did not hear you say, I know I was wrong for sleeping with a pastor, but I was sleeping with my friend, my boyfriend, who just happened to be a pastor. I remember that distinctively.
Well, because people don't understand that I didn't grow up in the church, so just because you think that something is wrong don't mean that I have the same morals or the same beliefs as you. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like, just because you are in the church and you think that it's wrong to sleep with a pastor doesn't mean that me being in the secular world that I think that is wrong. Maybe if he's always presented himself to me one way, maybe I never looked at him in that reverence that you guys are thinking that I looked at him in. You know what I'm saying? People are thinking about the warped experience that they've had, so they just automatically assume, oh, well, she has to think the same way. No, I don't have to think like you. I don't have to feel like you feel. Just because I went to one pastor doesn't make me a church whore. I'm not out here running from pastor to pastor, jumping in pastor to pastor bed. I'm not out here, sleeping with Paul Morton, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Bishop Greg Davis, Bishop, Joel, whoever. I'm not out here running from church to church. I slept with one bishop, and that was my relationship. But that doesn't make me wrong. But sure, if I look at it from the Christian aspect, sure, maybe I was wrong. And I can own that, but why should I have to own that? Because maybe I don't view things the way that everybody else does. Maybe I don't see anything wrong with fornication. How do you know that's not? How did you know I'm even a believer? People just pegged me for what they wanted me to be because that was the experience that they had, and that's not fair.
Yeah, and that's something. That is something to consider. I can understand that, especially as an LGBT individual, especially as somebody who's a Christian mystic, or as Larry likes to call me with his bald head, a witch. I've dealt with my fair share of people having certain expectations out of me because of what they believe. Fine. I really don't give a damn. I'm just going to be an LGBT witch who believes very much so in Jesus, who's going to be right so much in heaven next to your raggedy sinful ass. When you get there, that's how it's going to work out. Nah, I also just want people, but like honestly, people, stop with this idealism, and let's be real. A lot of you have people in your life. Like, first of all, in general, most people are dualistic, meaning that. Because, like, for a prime example, when King John and Larry fell out, and when Andrea and Larry had odds, I told both Andrea and I told John and I told Larry that just because my experience with Larry has been superb and has been amazing, and I've never seen a discrepancy in Larry's character, didn't mean that Andrea's or King John's experience of Larry wasn't credible. I maintain the fact that it just wasn't my and hasn't been in my experience. That's how
Yeah,
I
he
deal
told me
with
that.
people.
He did.
That's
Oh,
how
yeah,
I
he said it to
deal
you too? Yeah,
with
he
people.
said that all the time. He said it all the time.
He
That's
did.
very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, and I just say that as a disclaimer because if I'm being realistic, I got people in my life who would probably say that, hey, your mother, who you love dearly, was rude to me and nasty to me. And just because she's my mother doesn't mean that she wasn't rude and nasty to your ass. It doesn't mean that just because I would go to bat for her and I think my mama is an angel doesn't mean that somebody else's negative experience isn't that. That grandmother, that grandfather, that child you raised, just because they're your child don't mean they can't do wrong. And that while they at home playing by all the rules, they in school whipping some other kid's ass and bullying somebody, being completely immature underneath your nose. People are dualistic. People are both good and bad. I don't understand the investment in only what's perceived to be people's wrongdoing. Okay, like it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's okay that Andrea, she had an experience. She stated what her mentality was coming into all this. Things spun out of control. Those things happened. She came to what she believed to see things in a way that was inconsistent to the way she started off seeing things, and she made that known. And
she
so
said, and
she
said, this is our key point. And God, Contra, you said I hope somebody's taking that. There's so many nuggets in this conversation. What you said about, never mind. Let me just finish my statement before I forgot. And then this is the thing that she did.
And then get into that.
Okay, this is the thing that she did. She said, I want everybody to hear this when she called me. She said, I did you wrong. I'm paraphrasing. What I did wasn't right. I want to apologize. And then she broke down crying. And I know this girl. This is not somebody I don't know. I know her. So when I know this won't no fake. This won't no lie. She was sorry for what she said. And there was some stuff, because I am human. I started saying, well, you said this about my baby mama. You said this about Lisa and Michael I've known longer than anybody that you guys know I know, except for my mama and my daddy and my older siblings. And so that was important to me. And she remembered the Shamako stuff. She apologized. She said, I'm sorry. I know. Larry, you know how I am when I get upset. I just start running off the mouth, da-da-da. And then I said about Lisa, she said, I didn't know I said that. And so was that when she said, I didn't know I said it. But I took that piece, that clip, and had it on my phone and was holding to that. And so in that moment, I was like, you know what? I said, it don't even matter. I said, I'm going to go down the whole list. It don't matter. I said, I forget. I said, forgive me of calling you the vixen. I said, and I did that because I thought you were moving like a fox. I said, you moving from my platform to this platform. But now I know what she says is one of the reasons how all of that happened. And I get that. I don't think she would be trying to lie to me. It won't be no purpose in it because that don't even matter to me. And what matters to me is that she said, I did this, I did it, I'm sorry. So I let it go. And that's it. And we heard when Josh called in the other day, his story is almost exactly opposite. So if I would get, as the outsider, if I would get into that going back and forth and all those particulars on who said this, who said that, who said what, for me, I don't see how it's beneficial. What I'm looking at is this. You said what you said. You did what you did. I don't really care about why you said it. You did it. Own that. Apologize, and move on about your business. If you decide to do it like that. For me, you own it. You apologize. You saying I'm sorry, or you acknowledging what you did. I don't really have to have the apology, but for you to say, on some level, I don't like. I shouldn't have done this, and this is what I did, whatever. I can just move on. We ain't got to go through the whole detailed thing. I don't need an apology for each statement for you to go back live. And I told y'all, I said, because Andrea apologized, then went live and apologized, and I didn't ask her to do it. I said, that's the reason why I initially through text said to you, Jive, that I want you to say it publicly. But then I realized
is Jive in the comment section?
Oh, I don't know if he's in the comment section.
Okay.
That's what I said to him through text message when we, because we tried to clear things a couple of times. And then I realized after that, I was like, I don't need that no more. I said, I don't need no public apology. I don't need no private apology. If you saying you want to move on, just bury the hatchet and start over, I'm good with that. Let's do that. And so I just hope people are learning from watching us versus getting so invested on whose side they're going to be on, that they look at their own life and just see if you can do that with somebody.
Yeah. But this is the thing. But that's all of what I'm saying. That people the same people saying what they're saying are actually doing that. But when it comes to people outside of them, people always want to project their fantasy instead of the reality of the life experience. Everybody in this stream, everybody who's going to be in this comment section right now has people in their life who they've forgiven for cheating, for lying, for signing their name without their permission, for totaling loss of car, for assaulting them. The people already have this reality in place. And so it's not computing to me why the expectation has to be put on ConsciouzTv or Larry to maintain relationships to perfect people when these same people who are instructing us to stay away from Andrea and stay away from King Jobs are people who are completely facilitating and cultivating a lifestyle filled with people who are perfectly flawed. And they've put that into perspective and made peace with that. Everybody in this comment section probably done forgave their daddy, their mama, their children, their parents, whatever the case may be, for a billion things, okay? This is the reality of life, okay?
Let me jump in here and say this. I mean, interrupt, but Shamako said something. Everybody know that I've been knowing Shamako for 20-some odd years, and this has been very transparent of us because he says, but Larry, Conscious said Jobs apologized to him. Why he apologized? Why didn't he apologize to you? Just asking, what's the difference? You can move on without an apology, yes, but, and let me say this, and I tried to say this in the live the other day, and I hope somebody get this. And I know it's difficult because I ain't always been here. He apologized to Jive. Jive apologized to Conscious in my face without giving me an apology for the things that he said that was a lie and the things that he said. So he said something about me molesting some boys and all that was so. But he did explain to me where that came from. He might did apologize for that. I can't remember. But I don't remember him saying I'm sorry and apologize. I don't remember any of that. But what I did know from talking to Jobs was he did not want to continue doing what he had been doing, and that was enough. Because for me, that's all that matters. So I think sometimes we want an apology more than we want to change the behavior.
So an apology is just a word until the behavior validates it. Until the behavior validates it. So
Andrea apologized, then turned around, since we found out the other day, she then turned around, and when she heard someone say that they wanted to harm and do me evil, she began to tell me that stuff, and we weren't even like talking every day. We don't have the same relationship we had prior to all of this. But she still handled things in a way as if we were the best of friends talking all the time. See, that's the kind of stuff I be looking at 42 years old. Do you want to continue in the same direction you have been continuing with me, or do you want to change it? You say, I want to change it. Okay, let's do that. I don't need you to dig up everything. You done said all the lies and stuff, because maybe my ego needs that. I don't know. But I'm not interested in it. Let's just move forward.
Yeah. We'll go back to what I'm saying. Like, you are seasoned, you're old, you have dementia, onset of dementia. You don't got time for all that fool-la-la. Your brain cells don't even have that level of strength at this point in time. So we just got to get straight to the point. And I think that that's a sign of true maturity. I think that a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on closure from other people. I think you have grown enough in your spirituality to not even need really closure from anybody, because you could have been well with Jive even without that conversation. You would have been well with Jive even without that conversation. So the conversation didn't really alter or change what you were going to be and how you were going to do this either way. So that's why it was no need to put a strong emphasis on what Jive said to you, how he said it to you, if he used the word apology. And as you said, the intention was simply set, Larry, I don't want to do this with you anymore. I don't want to do this with Conscious. And at the end of the day, I fully agree. I don't give a damn about language. If that would have been the only thing King Giles would have came into the conversation and said, I would have took it. I would have took it. Because what else is there to take? Nobody wanted this from the jump. And I want to keep this in mind too. Andrea and Larry cared about each other when they were dealing with each other. Me and King Giles cared about each other when we were dealing with each other. Andrea and King Jive cared about each other in their dealings with each other. I don't think, even with all that has happened, that any of us could be comfortable and okay with not trying to return back to this place. And I fully believe that in time, Andrea and King Jive are going to get to have their heart-to-heart. And it might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be no damn time soon. But I believe that Miko and Andrea, because look, this was the impossible for me. So now I'm a believer in the possible. I am a believer in the impossible. I never imagined Andrea was going to come to me. And I did not think a conversation with me and King Giles was going to happen this soon, and I didn't think it would be as sincere as it was when it happened. Yeah, like I didn't even think about it. So, but I think that any relationship that can come full circle after devastation, after tragedy, is a relationship that has some level of virtue at its heart, some type of sincerity, like whether that's love, whether that's care, whether that's kindness, whether that's a mutuality, that there's a virtue, and I am under the belief, especially during this age of Aquarius, where my ex stepped to me and apologized to me. Andrea came to me, we worked our stuff out. Andrea came to Larry, King Giles came to me and Larry. I am a firm believer that the universe is conspiring towards the wellness of humanity. And yes, it is thriving toward wholeness always. And as soon as problems arise, the universe, the cosmos, God, the spirit, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, begins to move toward resolve almost immediately. And so this to me is evident that at the heart of the universe, at the heart of human nature, is the image of God, which is vital, it is forgiving, it is loving, and that through this life experience, it is uncovering, discovering, and revealing itself through it all. And so I'm actually more inspired by relationships that can get back on track rather than relationships that never got off them, because I want to know what the hell the connection is built like. And staying on track doesn't necessarily show me that as much as what that relationship does to yield itself back into alignment. I am somebody who wants to be, I'm not afraid to go through the ups and downs. It's how we recover. That's more important to me.
What is happening now? We're seeing now with people being in their house and trucks are not on the road. That's what many cars. We're literally seeing in the animal kingdom some shifting in things that are happening. I had a vision about a month ago, however long ago, and I was seeing the animals run out of one region that they were in into another region. And I began to see the earth begin to change shape. And I read on a site that is credible that they actually have seen where dolphins are now going into waters that they used to be in. They're actually seeing some of the amphibian life begin to shift their course, and it's because man is now going back to their home and beginning to deal with some things and having to heal some things. Now, in healing is not always beautiful, because at the same time, the divorce rate is going up because people are having to stay home with people that they realize they have outgrown and they do not like. So all of this is healing. The tear apart between me and Andrea, the tear thing that happened between me and Jives, all of that was part of this. Now that me and Jives are cool and me and Andrea is cool, so all of it was part of a healing. And I think the entire universe, even with this COVID-19, with the people that are dying, from a grand, as an overview of everything, the grand design, there's a massive healing taking place and a shifting in the consciousness of every organization and every organism. So in my opinion, and one of the main things I want to come out of this conversation, and I knew your platform was a great place to have it because you've done it so many times here, Conscious, is not only for people to just hear us talk, and it probably is a little bit juicy, but at the same time, the consciousness should be raised from this event. Y'all saw me and Andrea go at it, and now we're not. And then when we want again, this girl gave. I wish I could tell y'all everything, but one thing that I can say, she let me know that somebody was threatening me and that I was being stalked, and people was involving themselves in my cases in a way to try to harm me and my family and my business. Now, we've just had it out for only how many months. Yeah. But she came to me with that. And I had already forgave her then and let it go. But then when she did that, I'm like, now, wait a minute. Now,
because at the end of the day, the stuff, because see, people think that it was just, somebody said something on Facebook and they was going, no, like his actual whole family was being targeted and he had no clue. He thought that it was just him being targeted, but that wasn't the case. And when I found out that everybody down to his daughters were being targeted, I felt that it was only proper to say something because, again, I was very upset that Victor's church allowed him to do things and that his family and his friends supported him in doing things that was hurting me as well as 20-plus other people, plus, as we learned, thousands and thousands of other people were being affected by his actions. I can't be mad at those people for not standing up for me. And I, in my personal life, see something that was brought to me, sent in through an email that I've never even asked for. And I saw something that was literally that could have put him in a messed up situation. If I had turned my back and not said nothing, that would have been, I don't believe that God would have blessed what I got going on in my courtroom. Because he would have said to me, in my personal opinion, how can you expect me to hold you down when you saw something that you knew wasn't right and you chose to turn a blind eye? I didn't want that on my conscience, that something was going to happen. Whether we were cool or not, I never wanted to see anybody in a grave or hurt in a hospital or, their lives or the people around them stalked and living in fear. I didn't want that, so that's why I did what I did.
Wow. Somebody in the comments said that show us time stamps and proof that she did that. I said, you're not in Patreon.
But that's what it's really to realize is it's not for them. Like, at the end of the day, nobody cares if everybody agrees with me and Larry being cool, me and Conscious being cool, Conscious and Jives being cool, or Larry and Miko. Nobody, it's not. I can't get mad at you because you know how I feel about Jives, but I can't be mad at you for being okay with Jives. Why? Because y'all's forgiveness had nothing to do with me. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect that just because you don't like somebody or because you had a bad experience. Like Conscious told me before, listen, I understand what you're saying, Reid, but that wasn't my experience, and you can't make me feel how you feel based on your experience. I get that now. And that's what people have to understand. Like, just because you don't like something or because something don't fit with you, that's not your place.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. That's what you're saying now, Andrea, is what I was going to come back to. That you said, conscious. That is key. That is key.
Yeah, he's right. He was very much so right, because that's exactly what Conscious is to me. When I was told to go, because I didn't just go to Conscious because I thought it was a fun thing to do. I was asked to go to Conscious, which Conscious knew because Conscious was on the call. And Conscious asked me, what do you want to talk to me about? And I said, well, I wasn't trying to talk to you about nothing, but this person asked me to talk to you, and this is what, boom, boom, boom. And he said to me, he said, I appreciate your experience, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's not my experience, And you can't do nothing but respect that.
Yeah. Somebody asked, they said, what was it that Victor did so bad he was single? And so just go back to my platform. I've opened the videos back up. Go back to my platform, type in Andrea, Garrison, and Victor Cousins, and you'll be able to see it from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
But I just hope that people can take this as a learning experience that when we do wrong, just own up to what you did, and for me, I just feel like it just, because when people were upset, because you know who the people were that were upset that I had, people were irate that I apologized to. People were very angry about it. Somebody that I was friends with, which you knew about. And I said it to them. I said, my apology isn't for you. My apology isn't to be friends with Larry, because what people don't understand is I'm not in a vlogger world. I'm not in this world. I told my story, and that was it, So for me, it was just, I knew what I wanted from Victor. All I had ever wanted from Victor was for Victor to own up to what he did, as far as what he did when he did what he did to me with Abigail, and then when he made that tape without my consent, made the non-consensual pornography, and then he leaked it and blackmailed me. All I ever wanted, which you knew, Larry, was just for him to own up to what he did. And I can't expect that from him if I'm not willing to do that for myself. That's like you wanting somebody to love you, but you don't love yourself.
Yeah. And I want to say this, too, because Andrea had touched on it a little bit ago, like when she said, whatever happens in the forward movement of the relationships really is nobody's business. And I just want to say this again, too. Like, I'm a person who not only believes that people can do wrong, and do good for good, because I don't only believe that, I've seen that in my life. My stepfather was a negligent father figure. He cheated on my mother. He was a cokehead. He was an alcoholic growing up. My mother essentially was a single parent in a marriage. And my stepfather lived most of his life unconsciously on drugs, struggling through his life all the way up until my mother passed away. By the time my mother passed away, because she took on so much responsibility, raising her two sons and dealing with a struggling husband, it took a toll on her health because she was on her own dealing with those dynamics. My mother ended up suffering from high blood pressure, and as a result, she started stroking out a lot. And the last stroke she had was a stroke to the brain, and she bust a blood vessel, and it killed her. And my stepfather changed his life. By the time my mother passed away, my stepfather and my mom had already been separated for years at that point. But he had found God. He became a Jehovah's Witness. And my stepfather, you would not recognize his ass today. You're talking about Bobby Brown is who my daddy was. My stepfather was. That was my father figure growing up, my stepfather. Bobby Brown, wow. This man is so conservative. This man is on the street 3-4 times out of the week, handing out pamphlets to the homeless, getting souls saved. This man has a new wife, a beautiful Christian saved woman. They are interested in going to heaven, being caught up in the rapture, and doing good. So when people act like what people do is defining them, it's just not true. And guess what? If King Jobs or Andrea screws me and Larry over again, that's between Andrea and Larry. I mean, between Andrea and Jive and Jive. The burden is not on me and Larry.
I want to say something about that. I mean, because there's always that possibility of coming.
Hold on. Just hold, because I wanted to say that too, because I know what you're about to get into. But let me say this real quick. That will be between Andrea and Jive, because we have got to see, right? Even when we got screwed over in all of this, we only were elevated throughout these weapons formed against us. That's why I don't be pressed if I accidentally stumble into a relationship with somebody who I can't trust, who's going to fuck me over, because God got me. Whether I am the most discerning at times, whether I am the most intuitive and psychic and so future seeing, it doesn't matter. I'm in genuine relationship to God. So I'm always going to be shielded from the weapon formed against me, whether I got the foresight or the insight or not. That's why I don't be pressed and walking around paranoid, getting close to people. I don't be pressed about giving people a second chance. And that don't mean that Larry or me or Andrea or Giles are going to just in the reconciliation of all are just going to be the bestest of friends, but that's also a possibility. It's very possible that Larry and Andrea could get very, very close again. It's very possible for me and Andrea to get very and very close. I'm not against anything, because my only job is my freaking salvation, and that's what I'm going to answer to God for. I'm not worried about who else out here playing with God or playing with themselves. That ain't got nothing to do with me. And if something happens to me in the midst of that, look, at the end of the day, long as my integrity, my humanity, and my character is found with God, I'm prepared to die any kind of way in any kind of a relationship, because I'm right with me and I'm right with God, and I'm okay with that. Now go ahead, Larry.
I'm going to say, and as it relates to what you said, I'm going to say that I keep with time, all things are possible. Let me say that. With time, all things are possible. So I agree. That's how I agree and resonate with what you said. But I'm just going to think out loud for a little bit. Let's suppose as time go along, for some reason, Jobs gets on his platform, goes off, even possibly Nico, who I think is hilarious, funny. I also think she's insightful.
She's dope.
Then or Andrea, me and Marcellus is supposed to be having a talk through the Neil.
Hold on, what?
How you missed that? I said that earlier.
Hold on. You and Peter Griffin supposed to be having a conversation?
How you missed that? I just said it earlier. That his friend Neil, I was talking to Neil, and he knows Neil, and Neil knows me. And Neil
hold on, wait a minute.
Marcellus,
you and Roseanne gonna be having a conversation.
Yeah, we're supposed to have some conversation. But what I'm saying,
okay. Well, me and you gonna have a conversation after this conversation.
Well, let's suppose that 2 months from now, somebody comes and tells Jive something, but he said they weren't gonna do that no more. Come tell them something that I said something, or from this conversation they say that I said something to Jive. And they show him a little piece of a proof. I mean, something that they twist into you. And he goes to the platform as opposed to calling me and starts going off and saying all this different kind of stuff. This is what I've learned from this experience. And I'm thinking out loud. So I haven't sat with this long, but it came in my mind while Andrea was talking. I think I'm never going to involve myself. You remember our first mode and my first position when all that stuff popped off? I wasn't going to say anything, and I didn't. And the videos kept going. They kept going. Josh kept making them. Daryl kept making them. Andrea was still doing her posts and stuff. And then one day I sat down to do the Vixen and the Vlogger. That was the one time I spoke. And then right after that, I done an interview or two with you. But that was the first time I spoke, the one time I spoke on my platform. It seemed like all of that made everything worse. And I think moving forward, even if these relationships, go sour because of one reason or the other, I'm never going to deal with that publicly again. I'm just going to let it go, or either pick up my phone or whatever and say whatever needs to be said. I mean, although they may record it and put it on their platform, I'm just saying I think I learned a lot. I mean, because the only reason why I spoke out and said some things is, and then I started bringing out some personal things that me and Andrea had went through, agreements or disagreements or letdowns or whatever, wrongdoings or misinterpretations. I put all of that out there, because if I'm going to tell something, I'm going to tell everything. And that was personal. And so I think, and I'm thinking out loud, I think that I'm never going to do this again, no matter what. Even if somebody come at me and go out there talking crazy, I think I'm never going to do it again. That's what I think.
Unless them views hit less than 25K, then content gonna be good. It's gonna be a good week, a good beef week.
I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not putting putting that in stone, but I think I'm never going to.
Well, I'm not going to say that because I am a believer in war. I do believe that the God we serve does require combat, confrontation, gore, blood splatter, the whole nine. I am a believer in confrontation, but I kind of follow the format of the Holy War. I think that going to battle needs to be after you have exhausted every means to render peace as a verdict. And when that fails and somebody keeps coming against you, then you are in right standing to defend yourself appropriately and accordingly. So I'm not going to say, for me, I'm never going to go toe-to-toe, but I will say because I'm not interested in combat, even when I'm critiquing, even when I'm giving commentary, even when I'm doing what I'm doing, my intention isn't to cause harm per se. I'm a lover. I'm going to exercise love if things get out of hand. And look, I've been in beef. Me and Armand Wiggins have had a very short-lived moment where he threw a shot, I threw a shot. If I was interested in building my channel in that way, I get enough people's attention who have greater platforms than mine where I could be the Daryl Moore of YouTube. Because people actually have something to say about what I say about them. Daryl Moore is just a vagina. So, he doesn't really benefit even from what he does. He's 20,000 videos in about King Jobs, ConsciouzTv, and Larry Reid, and only got 2.5
and Andrea and
subscribers. And now
Miko.
Andrea and now Miko. Make it make sense. But I already told Larry, some people are made in the simple image of God, okay? And this is just the low-vibrating, low-hanging fupa way that some people have to go about building a name for themselves because they don't have the God-given authentic talent that people who are made in the greatness of God's image have, okay? This is somebody who's made in the very simplistic, very simple, very practical, very mundane, down to earth image of God.
See,
okay?
And y'all know this from watching me. I do not like people to be bullied. And to me, Daryl, and I don't know if he means to do it. I don't know.
He does.
But I look at William. It was William. Then it was me. Then it became Jives. Conscious.
No, me.
Then it became Jives.
And then Jives.
And then, Conscious, then Jives. Then it went to Miko. And the whole time he's doing everybody else, he's still keeping me. I'm like his base. His base, he always jump. My videos never stop. And then it go, now it was Miko, and now it's Andrea. Last night was Andrea. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, now, why don't you take this in energy? And then talking about getting involved in her cases and stuff. I'm like, okay, why don't you take that energy? You had a wife. I know you have children. And why not because you don't come from the church. You don't even belong in this sector. You shouldn't even have no conversation, nothing about anything, and without going to school first and finding out about who we are and what we do. So you come into this sector with rudeness, with disrespect for our women and for our children. And don't tell me you have respect for women and children. It's not true. Because the women and children of our church need to be protected and handled properly. Nico went through something abusive in the church with Juanita Bynum. Jives is a preacher in the church, who's now doing this job. I was a pastor 20 years with churches everywhere and then coming to this job. You a witch, and you come
and I'm his worst nightmare. And I'm going to be his worst nightmare.
Andrea was abused by a pastor. What are you doing? And that was what's so strange to me about Marcellus, who come from the church folk revolution when they did the job I do. And then he sit beside him and support him. That's the opposite of everything you've done all these years. That is a whole problem over there. And
I'm gonna tell you what it
is. And the way he doing Mako, putting her face on the front of picture and stuff, and then getting involved, but he shouldn't even mention Jive's mom at all. No mention at all. Talking about sending money for her.
Yeah, he has been the only one to hit below the belt. But that's because
it's horrendous.
But that's because his fupa hangs below the belt. He's used to below the belt altitude because his stomach hangs that low. That pussy fat hangs that low. So the spirit swings and hangs that low.
The ninth warrior said, Larry, is he still doing this in the name of Jimmy? No, I contacted Jimmy because this is what he was saying. This is what Andrea said he said as well, that he was doing it for her and for Jimmy. Well, we know clearly that's a total lie. If he was doing it for her, he went at the drop of a hat, now wanting to call and try to dismantle her main case with someone that harmed her.
Wow.
And Jimmy said clearly, I don't have anything to do. I posted this in my Patreon. I don't have nothing to do with what Daryl's doing. He's doing it his own. I don't need an apology. He even said last night, and I won't stop until he apologizes to Jimmy. Apologize to some guy I don't even know. I think he passed. And I'm like, what is he's creating? I think I am the symbol for him. He's projected his anger on me. Everything that has ever made him mad in his life, every opportunity he never got, recognition he never got. Because we got to remember, this is a fat man who's been huge, an obese man that has been handled wrong.
Gargantuous.
And he had a surgery. So he probably has been handled a certain kind of way. And it's like all of that has been projected on me. The fact that he has to live where he lives at the pay grade that he's at. Struggling to be a recognized actor versus in the background all the time. I think all of that he's projecting on me.
Well, you know what? I think.
And Andrea is not my type. I see you, Nikki. No, Andrea is not my type. If any woman that can get me right now, it's the mother of my children. Everybody knows that. That's not even the case.
Larry, please. All of us know that you was headstrong over Andrea. Stop it.
Say it again, Andrea.
I said I'm a whole engaged.
And I know
a whole engaged. But with Daryl, I believe. First of all, I believe the boy is strongly mentally ill. I mean, as Miko, thank God to Miko, honey, because Miko knows how to effectively dox a person. Miko was able to pull up the Essence articles about him being a case study for bipolarism and all. So first of all, Daryl is mentally ill. Let's get that clear. This is a real mentally ill person. Now, some speculate whether he's actually mentally ill because he's also a pathological liar, which also could be the result of being mentally ill. Or, he's mentally ill in spirit if he's just a pathological liar. But nonetheless, I think he's mentally ill. Secondly, I think when you couple mental illness with a heroism complex, then you get a a recipe for disaster, because then you get somebody who's already unconscious, they're mentally incapacitated, and then they have a need to be a savior figure. But when you don't have the consciousness for that, and you're mentally crippled to do that, then what you end up doing is having the right intention, but see, you always fall in your perception, because the mental illness is going to flaw who your target should be. It's going to smear the lines of truth and direction and what you should be doing. And so I think deep down, Daryl is convinced that he is right, and I think, I believe he believes that Larry is wrong.
Everything he say that I am. Yeah. And
yeah,
it's not
evil.
true. I thought his research was just bad. But you just said something that's why I said you're right. Because last night it let me know, no, it could still have to do something mentally, but last night he flat out lied. He said and implicated, and Marcellus was beside him. I don't think he's being honest with Marcellus either, because I did say he got smart parts.
Marcellus ain't being honest with himself. Of course not.
No, but I said he do have smart parts, so I think something he's not telling, because he got up there and totally lied on
Say that
on
shit
Andrea.
again, Conscious. Say that shit one more time, Conscious.
What is that?
Peter Griffin ain't being honest with himself, so of course he's being not told.
I mean,
no,
he
ain't even the truth.
I'll say this. So Larry knew. So me and Daryl was cool. I'll just catch everybody up on the whole Daryl thing real quick, just to bring it into perspective. Because I don't know if Larry told you everything that went down, Conscious, or not.
No.
But
no.
Basically, there's a group of people. I was cool with Daryl. I didn't. Now, Larry knows how I am. I tune in for 5 seconds, say a show, and then I'm off. That's anybody. I only got the attention span of a dolphin. I can tune in for 5 seconds, and then I'm on to the next thing. That's just how I am. And because Larry used to yell at me about that when he would go live on my own
all
show.
The time.
He'd be like, well, I need you to watch the whole daggone show, because how you going? I said, well, sorry. But that's just me, you know. So I didn't realize that I knew that Daryl was making videos about Larry, but I didn't really know the backstory on Daryl and Larry, or if there even was one. Now, I know when I first came out, I ran Victor through the mud, all up and down and around, sideways, any which way you could think, I did it. I had a reason for it, obviously, 14 years and he did what he did. But I felt like, who am I to do this to Victor? And then Daryl, I'm not thinking that Daryl's going as deep as I found out he was going. I'm thinking he just making videos on Facebook dragging Larry. I felt like I would be a hypocrite for me to have done the same thing that Victor was, making a whole bunch of videos, and then turn around and get mad at Daryl for doing it to Larry. And Larry know how I am. Like, if I'm not going to expect more from you than I expect of myself. So I'm like, whatever. Larry would try to tell me, like, no, Drea, like, he's crazy. This is what he's doing. And I'm like, whatever, Larry. But I didn't know the gravity of the situation until one day he sent me an email. And when he sent me this email, my mouth hit the floor, because I was like, wait, how did you get that? And why do you have this? Now, I'm all for, if you feel that somebody did you wrong and you want to break the culture of silence and you want to speak up and you want to say what happened to you, I support that wholeheartedly, whatever. But I'm not for you trying to hurt nobody, and like Larry could say, and the whole time that Victor did what he did, I never once threatened that man's life. I never did nothing to him. I never even so much as said I wanted to hurt him, ever. I never did that. So when I got this email and I seen that there were things that it was a sealed document that never should have been released to the public ever, because there was a lot of private, personal information. And when he told me he had it, he sent it to me. I called him. I seen it and I said, whoa. And I was like, what is this? And he's laughing like, well, I got this and I got that. And I'm like, well, why do you even want that type of information?
He laughed about having my parents' address. Is what?
Yeah, like it was his parents' address, the kids' school. He knew where his wife was, where Shamako was.
Now, you didn't tell me that, Andrea, but I know you're telling the truth, because they asked me about my kids' school. You're right. Go ahead. So,
well, you knew it was all in the documents because I sent it to you. But I ended up sending it because I just had when I saw that, that's when for me I was like, hold on, wait a minute. This is a lot. Like, okay, I get that you feeling some type of way, but this is a lot. So I told Larry what I knew because one, God forbid something happened to Larry, and then I gotta look Lisa in her face and be like, well, I knew, but I didn't say nothing. You know, his girl's like, I met you, Reid. How could you not say? You know, I didn't want something to happen to him, whether we were friends or not. And then it come back that I knew about it and I didn't say something. And then even just as somebody that I've cared about in my life, to me, when he sent what he sent and I talked to him, something just felt off to me. Something felt. To me, it just felt like it was evil, if you will. Like, I just felt like it wasn't right. So I said, let me tell Larry. But then, as you know, Larry, I called him because I said, well, maybe something happened. I know that a lot of times we can easily offend people and not even know that we've offended them. I've done it before. People's done it to me. I'm thinking like, well, maybe Larry did something and just don't know what he did. So maybe if I talk to Daryl and try to find out, maybe he'll say something that sparks Larry and be like, well, shoot. But he said out his own mouth, Larry has never done anything to me. I said, well, I understand that you was defending me, and I appreciate that, but we're reconciled, so, you know, you can stop now. And he said, well, it's because of Jimmy Battles. And I said, well, is Jimmy defending himself? Is Jimmy saying that he want to be vindicated? He's like, no. So I'm like, well, why are you fighting for Jimmy if Jimmy is not fighting for himself? Like, make that make sense to me. And then that's when he started threatening Larry, like, oh, you know, if I could shoot him in the chest and if he ain't had no air in his body. And I'm just like, but you're saying that you don't know him and he's never done anything to you. But then he said out his own mouth, I don't like what he represents. I don't like the entity that he is. That means he don't like nothing about Larry, and if he could kill him, he would. If he said he would.
But Andrea, what that says to me, but Andrea, what that says to me though, when I heard that, now see this thing, because he was telling Marcellus to make it feel like we're trying to make him say something he did not say. Marcellus is trying to make it seem as though it appears that ain't what he meant when he said it. In fact, they even said
but
that
it maybe wasn't. Do the same thing?
But then no, yeah, he did. But they even were trying to say maybe it wasn't his voice. It was somebody else's voice. It was maybe Shamako playing, because this was in the comment section, that maybe Shamako was acting like it was Daryl. No, this was Daryl's voice. And not only that, this is the thing. This is what the cops said to me. They said
nobody can sound like a disgruntled fan but Daryl.
The cops said if we had only heard him say what was on the 2-minute clip, and that was it. This is what one of the cops said. Still, this is an illegal statement because he's saying that it's with malicious intent and calling out the city that your house is in. So you can't do that. But then when I showed them what Marcellus thinks does not exist because he listened to what Daryl said, showed them February the 27th that I actually went and filed a protective order. And it was not getting served because he was not answering the door and avoiding being served. And also, then COVID came in, and he didn't. And so neither one of us were able to get to the hearing. So he never got served. And then the hearing, it's going to have to be rescheduled. Got to redo all of that, But anyway, and the address was wrong. When he was saying, I'll be at the police station all the time. I've been an hour and a time. If it was real, you never did that. Yes, I did do that. And you had to know you were being served, because eventually we found the right address, and according to the server, they would hear him outside of his door, and he would not answer the door. And this is someone who, and then he said, I went and done a cease and desist first. Well, everybody knows that's not true, because everybody saw that the first thing he did first was a police report. That's still on this channel. And then I posted in my Patreon the day he sent the cease and desist. I did not have my lawyer. I had to send that to my lawyer. My lawyer responded to him, and that was an answer back to a cease and desist and the demand letter and all this different stuff. So that's a total lie. And Marcellus sit and don't know, because he sit right there and support him, and he does not know it's true. And I would like to think, because he has smart parts, if he saw that he would say, okay, Daryl, you said that he sent you one first right here. That's not it, since Marcellus loves documents. And then when he's talking about it was spliced. Well, now Andrea has posted all 17 minutes of the entire phone call. So you can hear his voice the entire time. That's his voice. It was not spliced. That's exactly what he said. I go over to his house and Sandy Springs, come to the door and put 2 in his chest. Marcellus don't need to be connected to this, because if now that I have to go after that, I'm gonna have to deal with him too, because I've also put it out that that paperwork is private paperwork that they're manipulating and connecting to narratives. My job in a pre-trial discovery deposition is not to talk. I'm supposed to not answer stuff. My lawyer told me that. She said, be vague. Don't give them too much, because we don't want them to know what evidence we got to support what we know the truth is, and not let them know what we have. So that it was. I couldn't believe that. It also revealed that there's a lawyer that there has connection with, probably through the fraternity, because they do all kind of illegal stuff in these fraternities.
They're not.
And we're able to get his hand on that paperwork, because me and Andrea both been in court know that pre-trial depositions are like grand juries. Nobody's supposed to see it but the lawyer and the plaintiff and defendant.
Yep, and we know that because I sent you the thing from when, in my case, Victor tried to get the grand jury stuff. That's when I knew that he wasn't, remember, because that's when I found out that he wasn't supposed to have those documents, because right around the time that Daryl got those documents, Victor had tried to get the grand jury unsealed. And that's when the judge made the statement that he made, that certain stuff was not to be revealed. Like, certain things couldn't be made. Like, my testimony in the grand jury was not allowed to be given, 1, to the defendant, and 2, to the public. That was a sealed, and it was a private thing, and it was actually a felony to release those. So when I seen that he had those documents, I said, whoa.
But they're not court documents. They keep saying court documents. They are
but they're not. They're deposition. They're sealed. It's used as a way. It's a secret. They call them secret hearings, because you saw my documents where when Victor tried to get mine, they literally put it in quotations that it's a secret hearing, because information that is used in those hearings could be used to attack someone. It could be used for the defendant to go and try to kill that person or stop that person. So certain things are sealed. So when I saw that, I got a little bit nervous, because I was like, wait a minute. I know that mine were sealed, and I know why mine, because I blew the whistle. Because I blew the whistle, certain things that I said could never get to the public, because it could get me killed. It was the same thing with you, where certain things shouldn't have been revealed, because that was something that was said in a secret hearing. And when he had those documents, I'm like, well, first of all, how the hell did you get these?
How you got them? That's the first thing Andrea said. When Andrea reached out to me, she was like, how did he get this? Said, these lawyers have got to be wicked. How did he get these documents? And if this was gotten legit, then information would have been deducted. He got your mama address. He got you the school your sister goes to. He got your new address, which nobody knows.
Yep.
Not even my lawyer.
And it was concerning, because I was like, well, why does he have all this? Like, what is he, like, it was, for me, it was just like, that's when I realized that something wasn't right, because I was like, wait a minute. If you online dogging somebody and dragging somebody, I ain't got nothing. Who am I to stop you? Do what you feel you need to do, because I did it to Victor, and listen, it is what it is. But the moment you become malicious and you're trying to actually cause harm to someone, that's when I got I'm like, that man got kids. Why do you know where his parents live? Why do you know where those girls go to school? Why do you know where his wife lives? Like, why do you know this about Shamako and Kendall? Like, for me, it was just weird, and I was just like, and you said the same thing, Conscious. You felt that something was off, like the energy just wasn't adding up, and that's when I felt, and you heard it yourself, Larry. I even asked Daryl, I said, I'm coming to you as a friend. Like, I feel that friends should be able to check friends when they're wrong, whether you like it or not. I should be able to come to you and be like, hey, you're wrong for what you're doing. And I asked him, I said, do you mind if I come at you real? He said, yeah. And then when I asked him, he was real. He has no actual beef with Larry. Larry didn't do nothing to Daryl. He's not defending him for me or for Jimmy, because neither of us have asked him to. So in all actuality, he's doing what he's doing because he envies him, or I don't know why he's doing it, but it's scary because nobody should have that type of information on somebody.
Yeah.
Bank account information, all that.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. It's mental illness, it's clout chasing, it's so many elements that are driving this train. Now, there's been a lot of narrative around Fupa in the Treehouse is being paid. I don't believe that nobody is paying Fupa. He don't even have a platform that's worth a single penny, for one. I think that he is a convenient weapon for people who already are attacking Larry. He just makes sense to use, and because he went out of his way to make contact with other parties, it was just logical for those parties, because there's a mutual agenda here to take down Larry, to this then link up and collaborate.
I found out that is exactly right. He reached out to those lawyers.
He did.
Because see, in my Patreon, the information to those cases, it was public. You can easily find it. And so he reached out to the lawyers. But what happened is, and I know this, all of those lawyers are crooked. They're unethical. And I've been saying this on my platform before Daryl even came into play. Mm-hmm. I already knew that. And there are a couple of judges in the pocket and police officers as well. So I already knew that. So when he got into the equation and he had all these narratives that he had about me in his head, consistently telling them, see, he don't know I know this, consistently telling them that I've got online and talking about stuff that I'm not supposed to be talking about, then they go back and work and go over the video and find out it's not true. Because if I ever did that publicly, at that moment they'll file a motion. Y'all will see it online. A motion will be filed for something. They try to do something to me because they're just evil. And they basically
I just wonder if folks ever heard of the term obstruction of justice.
Yep.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah, exactly. Especially so, but he didn't commit that. He didn't commit that until he sent the video, and they made a mistake because it fell in my lap. So he went online and saying that the judge said XYZ, and I don't know how he got that out of that email, but that was actually what the lawyer sent to the judge, which is unethical for the lawyer because that exchange is between my counsel,
disbarred,
another counsel, and the judge. Actually,
can't wait for the countersuit.
Yeah, so
can't wait for the countersuit. This is amazing. It's really, really, really amazing to me because the enemy has fell on their own sword. They've been behind the scenes doing all this kind of stuff, and really, ultimately, all this stuff worked in Larry's favor, which is very ironic that Larry's enemies are really working in the total victory of Larry. The end victory will be Larry's, due to a lot of the unethical, unprofessional tactics on behalf of the other party's legal team, etc., and them collaborating with Fupa in the Treehouse. So thank you, Fupa, for being on the losing team once again.
This won't really
I know you mad. Yeah, and I know you mad and you pressed because we done took all your friends back. We got Andrea. We love her. We gonna put her in a nice big old castle. We got King Jives. We done took all your friends. Now you back to square. You on your Brian McKnight stuff. You back at one. You're back exactly where you started, boo. Now I know all hell is breaking loose, and I know you're not getting paid because you actually have a job. You still getting on that moped going to your janitorial job every afternoon. Nobody's paying Daryl to do anything. And you know what? I can even understand now, putting all this into context, I can understand Andrea getting upset, having her issue with Larry, there being tension and a fight and then reconciliation because there was a offline relationship, a real life relationship there between him and Andrea. But Marcellus, Peter Griffin, isn't this overkill? Like, what actually is the deep investment in this whole thing when it comes to Larry. I don't really understand it. And then these niggas trying to read a court document. Niggas Niggas can't even read the number on the scale, because if you could, you wouldn't even be built like a V8 engine. So how, if you deny the numbers on the scale, how are you even in a position to debunk, analyze, evaluate, be critically thinking about court documents? I don't even understand how it makes sense. Like, because Larry told you to go and start a channel that y'all was already interested in having to begin with, that like, the bleed out is to get into a case that's beyond complex because of all these, like, I don't, and then the fact that there is a small,
I think I may have injured Marcellus. Well,
that's being responsible for injury. These people were already injured. They were already injured.
But let me explain what I mean, because I was looking at some comments up under the Timothy Belaine thing.
Peter Griffin injured himself. He the one who gobbled down all the Thanksgiving turkey. He the one who built himself the way he built. He's injured himself. He's injured his diabetes. He's injured his cholesterol. He has injured his hypertension. He has injured that.
Yeah, but see, I'm saying because I said what I said on, and I think I may have said it publicly. I said he doesn't need to go get his own platform. I was talking about him and Conrad. He said something yesterday. I said that him and Conrad work together. That's why I say he got smart parts, because a smart person won't take what somebody come and tell you without researching. That don't make sense. I never said that. I said it was him and Conrad. He wasn't the only one calling into the show that I was giving minutes upon minutes upon minutes every show, because at that time I was trying to rebrand the show to just me as opposed to a panel. So I told him, which was my main reason for my statement. I said, you need to go start your own show, and I'll help you do that. But you're not going to keep calling in. I didn't say this part. You're not going to keep calling into the show all the darn time with folks in the comment section asking us, trying to see what you got to say. I'm just moving from that model of Larry Reid Live. You messing up what I'm trying to do here. You know, and so in my mind, I'm saying you're just trying to build your platform. I mean, because it makes sense. If you're going to have a YouTube channel, there's a show where somebody's going to let you call in and their followers, you can gain a following. You can start your show with having a few people that will watch from on the back of my show. So it's a brilliant idea, but I just peeped it, and this is my opinion. I peeped it, and I said, you ain't doing it. You know, and he called it a lie. Larry lied on me. He lied on me. He need to apologize to me publicly. That's never going to happen. But I am going to understand where you're coming from, and I'm willing to start over again. But if you want me to go back, you know, and say things that I don't believe I owe you an apology. But I will, you know, make good on my word. We can move forward and start all over again. That's what I think with that.
Owe him, but he don't owe the treadmill. He don't owe the treadmill, but he feel like you owe him a what?
90 seconds.
He don't even feel like his body is old. Push-ups and jumping jacks. What about those things that are old? There is a lot of owing to do, and it probably needs to start with yourself. Before you even can make demands on what somebody else owes to you, you might want to pull out that laundry list of what you may indeed owe to yourself. First and foremost, I just find it interesting that all these raggedy people, all these raggedy, loose-booted people just feel so old, so many things. They have sat on that platform and perpetuated lies. Period. He even came out his dick sucker and said that I said you had won a case, and I'm still waiting on the timestamp. I'm still waiting on the screenshot. I'm still waiting on that. And then you sat next to somebody who also put a bunch of salacious ass, uncredited legal documents with my name on it, talking about that I've been hooking since 17 years old. Once again, I'm waiting on all these mugshots, because when you get arrested for soliciting your punani to strangers, you go down and you fingerprint and you take a cute little picture. I'm waiting on all these months to pop up to verify. all this hooking and credit card scamming that been happening. Yeah. But ain't nobody but Marcel asked, you said he got a smart bone. Not really, because he ain't asked Dr. Doolittle for no reciprocals. For no actual reciprocals for the things he's saying about you, the things he's saying about me, the things he's saying now about it. No reciprocals. It ain't no smart bone in there. It's big bonedness all up in that flesh.
Well, yeah, that is very true. That is very true because he should have known that. Why? First, I'm not even that person. I ain't never had a doctored up no receptacle. I have a whole Patreon where people are faithful in there every month because of how authentic, transparent, original, and also integral what I do is. And let's be very clear, because that's something that he said that he should not have said, is that these preachers, I'm getting sued because I don't know how to do my job. No, I'm getting sued because I do my job so well. I am whistleblowing on real things that have happened to real women,
because he
children,
doesn't know how to diet.
So, and because I'm doing that, then these men take me to court to spend money, and nobody. There would never be a conviction, not even the judge and the things that y'all read. First of all, you need to just really read what the judge has ordered, as opposed to trying to interpret documents you can't interpret it. There should have never been a mention of 350,000.
Stop reading. Go read a vegan menu. Stop reading. Just stop. Go read a vegan menu.
And talking about that if I lose this particular case or so whatever, I'm going to have to pay all this money. That is nowhere written anywhere. And it's not even in with the court. It's not even in there at all. That's not even the case. That whatever they're talking about is gone. The judge didn't even recognize it because the judge didn't. I can't talk on certain stuff, but just know this. What I say out my mouth will always be the truth. And verifiable. And what everybody should do is make people prove what they say, starting with their platform. Why did you make all these videos saying that Larry did not pay the money when you did not know whether that was true or not? Then they just let them come back up there and make a video and say, well, he paid it, but he didn't pay it. It was with a church check. That's a whole lie. And he told Andrea who the pastor was that paid it. Who did he tell you, Andrea, that was the pastor that paid my money? Andrea gone?
Is she? She might be on mute. It might be away from her phone.
Oh, I don't see her. She must have fell off.
Did she fall off?
She fell off. Oh, okay. When did she fall off? Oh, okay. Well, she done fell off.
She fell off?
Well, she called back the number again. It's not closed. It's closed? Okay, she got called. If she's still listening, she got to call my cell phone. I can merge her in. No, let me call her. Hold on. Let me call her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This session has now stopped recording, but keep listening as we reintegrate all parties back into the conversation. Oh God, I don't tell
knowing Andrea, I mean, because she always into this. I'm getting on this. I'm getting a call drop, and if she did the phone battery drop, that's always the case with her. So.
Oh, she did her job though. Even if she misses her job. But I want to add to what you're saying. But what also about the other part of this? They hell bent on the fact that okay, you didn't do your job correctly, you being sued, etc. Okay, but y'all call yourselves superheroes. Y'all call yourselves going after those who wrong. So let's just say hypothetically, Larry is wrong. I still haven't heard anything about the other party who's wrong because the other party one of them has a child.
Okay,
out of
I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying anything.
This ConsciouzTv, the best blogger, even better than Larry, who's speaking right now. Okay? I haven't heard anything, Fupa and Peter Griffin, about the other party who's also wrong. Because what about this man of God who has a secret child that his wife didn't even know about, allegedly, who was being paid for out of church funds, allegedly, that his own congregation didn't know anything else about, allegedly? And then what about the victim who also came out of the House of Hope, who alleged sexual assault upon her? I haven't heard about any of those perceived bad guys, okay? But we've heard about Larry being hypothetically wrong, so I'm going to give you that. Let's entertain for a moment that Larry is wrong. What about the commentary on the other parties who might be in the wrong? Because there seems to be a real strong bias here, and you seem to be missing the mark by a trillion miles, because there are people in this situation that y'all snorting y'all big-ass noses around that are being accused of actually hurting, violating, drugging folk, allegedly, and there are people who have had children who nobody knows about, who want to be a moral compass for their community, and there's no critique. There's no analyzation. There's no campaign or movement brought against the other parties. All of the attention is on Larry for some reason, and even comparably, if Larry was wrong in any regard, his wrong is inconsequential when sat next to the two other parties who are involved in these legalities with Larry, because one is allegedly accused of drugging and raping a woman, and the other is not even allegedly. There is a DNA test that proves that there is a baby, a child, and that child is on child support, and nobody knows about it. And this is a whole pastor. What about them? Can we do the hashtag what about them challenge? Can we? We already doing the open the door FUPA challenge. Can we do the what about them challenge too? What about them? This is all about Larry, but what about them? Proceed, Larry. And that's ConsciouzTv. Signing off.
No comment. Thanks for interviewing me. Oh, Andrea's calling back.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Okay, Andrea, you bet. I merged you into the phone call. I had made a statement. I said, and I don't know if you want to do this live.
Well, I'm on I don't know if you saw my inbox or not, but I didn't know we were going to go this long. But I'm on the other line with the guy that I'm working on my book with, and I got to get the recording with him.
Okay, no problem.
So I had I wrote both of y'all in the thing. I didn't want to be rude and just
no problem.
So I have to get to that because he only has so much time on we working on the book. So
got it. Okay.
I can tap back in with y'all at a later time, at a later date, where I got to get on this because this is important. That's important.
Go ahead of your business.
But just answer that question right quick. Who was the pastor that was supposed to pay for my money with a church check? Who did Daryl say allegedly it was?
I'm scared to say that bad name.
Jesus.
But he already know.
Church mafia.
Let me tell the hold on. Let me. Okay, hold on. Let me tell the hold on.
Time to get juicy.
Hold on. Y'all say
time to get juicy.
Hold on real quick. Hold on, y'all.
Lord have mercy. Father God.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep.
What? Well.
This is what she.
First of all, before I say his name, I'm just going to put a disclaimer out, Mr. Sir. Larry asked me on the live.
Right.
Say, yo, I don't want no smoke. Because I thought he announced that life.
Wow.
But he said it was Luther McKinstry, or McKinstry. I don't know how to say that man's name.
Luther McKinstry.
Yeah, Yeah, that man.
Wow.
And Luther, I would love to tell you what was said. I don't want no smoke, but.
Yeah, that's what who there said. That he, now, mind you, in that video, he said that he sent the picture to the lady, whoever's there, and she verified that it was him, and that was done on a church cashier's check. That is.
Well, see, that's the thing. He said, so what he said, because you had thought I was BSing.
I did.
You found the video yourself, and you was like, wait, Dre, I found it. And I was like, I was trying to tell you, because I got scared when he said his name. I said, wait, what? I said, first of all, that's the name. You might want to be careful. He said, oh, he ain't going to do nothing. I was like, nah, like, I'm from the Bronx, and I know his name rings bells in my neighborhood. So I would say before you put something on his name, you might want to make sure that's valid. And he said, well, he was friends with the person that collected the check, and that when so this is what he said. He said that you wasn't present at all, and that you had somebody pay for you. So I said, well, who he had paid for him? He said it was written on the church check. I said, was it Jordan? I thought it was Jordan. And he was like, no, think bigger. And I was like, well, who bigger? Who bigger than Jordan? But I think he was meaning like who name ringing bells, like in the street type stuff, like that I would be able to recognize. Because you know how I feel about Luther. Like I'm not saying nothing bad about that man. And then he was like, well, it was Luther McKenzie. And I was like, well, how you know it was Luther? And he was like, well, I sent them a picture, and they picture verified it. And I was like, oh, well, but then he ended up saying it on his own channel that this is what happened. And I was just like,
yeah, but he just didn't say, he said, I'm not going to say the person's name. But he said everything that you said.
Right.
Wow.
Just randomly next to Luther. I said I had to issue a disclaimer before I said that man's name.
So what did I do? So what did I do, Andrea?
What do you mean?
When I heard that, what did I do?
Oh, so you called him on three-way with me, and he called him on three-way. And Luther was like, well, Luther didn't know I was on phone. I mean, he know now, but he.
I told him afterwards. Yeah.
You told him that somebody was on the phone. You just didn't tell him who.
Yeah, exactly.
The person was.
Right.
And he was like, what are you talking about? You didn't even tell me what you knew. You were just saying, like, beating around the bush. And he was like, basically, like, nigga, get to the point. What are you talking about? And he was like, have you ever paid something for me to the course? And he was like, why? He's like, for me to give you money, it got to make sense. That's exactly what he said. He said it got to make sense. He was like, why would I just randomly just be paying something? What are you doing for me to be just paying your debt to society? Is what he said. Yeah. I knew Luther didn't do that because I know who Luther is. And I didn't even know Luther through the street.
Through the church.
The church. And I told you that when I got on that prophetic college. I said, I was like, I know him. And I said, his name rings bells. I was like, I know Luther.
But see, what I was trying to show before you had got knocked off is that these people, he made like 2-3 videos, said I didn't pay, then came back and said I did pay, then said, okay, he didn't pay, somebody paid $400, it was a cash situation. There's this mission to discredit me. I don't know who put this stuff in his head about who I am and my character. That ain't me. That money that was paid at that courthouse was paid legit, and said I raised $50,000. I didn't reach. I did not, listen to what I'm saying. I did not reach the $25,608.11 goal because my last donor was not able to do what they needed to do. So I had to do some things to get it done. Went to my lawyer. He said, let my lawyer place at 6 a.m. Patreon. No, that's not true. I took a picture as soon as I got there and posted it in there. So that's time stamp. So I went there to drop money off for them to go and put it down at the court because there are 2 lawyers. So Sadir, an entirely Muslim man that looked nothing like Luther, went down there and paid that. So that's a total lie. Wow.
Well, I mean, he said it on it was a lie. And you thought that I was BSing until you seen the thing for yourself and you was like, oh, snap, everything that you're saying makes sense. So I'm like, yeah, because why would I randomly just pick Luther? Out of all the people that I chose, if I was lying, I would have chose like Shamako or Kendall, or I would have never just randomly put you and Luther, and I would have never even thought to put you and Luther in the same sentence. Honest, the only time I've ever even known you to be around Luther was at the prophetic college, and even then, y'all weren't even around each other. To be honest, Luther was on the stage, and you were sitting with Kendall and them, and then you would go up and speak. So Luther was normally up there with Jordan and them. So I didn't even know that you knew Luther until that's when I found out that you even knew Luther. And that's why when he said that to me, I was like, well, why is Luther? Because I got intrigued. Like, well, why is Luther paying? I said, well, what's Larry involved there? Let me find out Larry out here.
No.
I didn't know. Let me find out Larry out here. So I don't know. Catch him on my block. But I didn't know. So,
wow.
And Luther said it. He said for him to pay your debt, and that came out of his mouth. He said for me to cough up money, it got to make sense.
More importantly, he said that did not happen. Plain and simple.
He said that didn't happen. He said, why would I do that? He said, what would I gain from paying your debt to society? That's
how business people think. There would have to be some kind of exchange for that. And there's no, I don't have any business with Luther except just talking. But I just don't went too long. My food is ready. But I hope everybody took from this reconciliation and resolve that happened between Andrea and me, Andrea and Conscious, and the squashing it. I hope people in their life will just, if they can't get an apology, they can at least just have a new start and start over with people that are important.
Yeah. I thank you so much, Andrea, for everything that you're doing to rectify things and even coming to Larry's aid, especially when you realized that things were taking a darker turn for the worse. I'm so grateful that you stood up in that and that you interceded. And I'm going to have you back.
I thank Larry for when I came to him, he didn't just hang up on me and say, you know what, the hell with her. I thank Larry for doing what he says that he does. I thank Larry for being who he says that he is. Like, I don't necessarily always agree with Larry. I don't like everything that comes out of Larry's mouth. And I'm sure Larry feels the same way about me, you know. And you don't have to always agree to be able to be adults and work towards the better good. And I appreciate you. When you came out in Patreon, you didn't say, like, oh, you know, this is who did this. Like, you didn't do that. And I appreciate you for, especially because I attacked you even though you did nothing to me. I can honestly say I initiated the attack with us, and I can stand on that. And you didn't hold on to that, and you showed me what we always ask for, because if we treated people the way that the comments be wanting us to treat people, imagine how God would treat us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm so grateful that you chose to show, because people be so quick to say that they're Christian and X, Y, and Z, but that the light doesn't show through them. And I appreciate you for, even though I never hear you say that, I appreciate you for allowing the light to show through you and give me a second chance. Not necessarily meaning that you're my friend, you want to talk to me, but the fact that you harbor no ill willings or ill feelings towards me meant more to me than anything. Regardless of how anybody feels, I appreciate it.
And I'm happy about that, Andrea, because I never wanted nothing to get ugly between me and you ever. Like, I literally would have never would have came against you, would have never been against you. Like, I would have never done those things. Like, even if the drama would have played out between you and Larry, like, I would have never stepped in. Like, I would have never did none of that. I had no interest in that. So I'm just glad that the way that I wanted to go into the thing initially is the way that we at least ending this thing, which is like with understanding, and I'm glad that we will be okay from this point on. I unblocked you from Facebook. I unblocked you from YouTube. I know if my pictures show up somewhere, it's gonna be because I done unblocked that Andrea Garrison, and she doing the most again. But I am. You are free to be on my platform. You are free to interact with my stream, and I do hope that the listening audience, like, I know that y'all don't have to follow suit with me and Larry, but this is bigger than me and Larry too. Like, there's a bigger thing that's going on here between us three here that can just be brought into y'all's life. And I think Andrea is onto something when she says, look, are y'all really about that life or not? Because the way that y'all treating her y'all might got to look in the mirror and figure out what it is you really believe in, and if you really walk your talk and talk your walk the way that you think you do, because it's easier to say that shit until it's time to prove that shit. So I
also know that it's going to take LRLers and everybody that follow us, Andrea's people and ConsciouzTv people, time to sit with this, because we're not going to act like that we just came to this place overnight.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I just Benita just said that in the chat, and I wanted to say that because that's very, 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 very true.
And I also want to say
it's a beautiful thing that was. Excuse me. I thought it was a beautiful thing what happened, and even though I'm not necessarily fond of Jazz and Nico, I am glad that at the end of the day, you guys were all able to reconcile, because I do know from the relationship that I had with Jazz that Jazz genuinely did care for you. And I know what y'all friendship being torn apart did to him. I watched him cry. I listened to him say, time in and time out, how he was hurting and how he wished he had, such and such, and how, you really blessed his life, being in his life. So I know the care that he had for you. So even though I don't get along with him, I am grateful and happy that maybe me taking the initiative to come forward caused, hopefully, that sparked something, and y'all was able to reconcile, because though I don't like him, and I don't want to say I don't like him. I don't like what he's doing, but I don't want to see him hurt. Just like I didn't want to see Larry hurt, which is why I spoke up. So I am happy that happened, that you were able to feel that little piece of him, that was missing from him, because that's something that I'm sure you were hurting with as well, because you cared
I love that
for him.
boy.
So I'm glad that, hopefully one day we could all be on the live, like, hey.
So that's what I was going to ask you, Andrea. Like, is it, I mean, it might be too early to really ask you this, but do you think it's, like, would you ever be willing at any point in time to do this with Nico and do this with Jive?
So my thing is this, absolutely, because, again, I can't come to you in my pure nakedness and expect you to accept me and not be able to do the same for the next person. Now, will I go and initiate something between them? No. Because do I think that I was wrong? No. And until one of them can come to me and personally say to me, like, hey, Drea, this is what you did to hurt me, because I have asked that. Like, did I do something to offend you? Did I do? Because sometimes I am aware that we can sometimes do and say things that hurt or offend someone, and we may not even be aware, because we could be so caught up in our own bullshit that we don't always see. Like, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. Like, if I know in my heart I never intentionally meant to hurt you, maybe, just maybe, I don't realize that I hurt you. And until you could come to me and say, like, hey, Drea, this is what you did. And I've done that. When it comes to Miko, I can't really speak on that, because I don't even know her. It's like Daryl and Larry. I really don't know her. I've never done anything to anything I've said to her or about her has been a reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. I'm a Scorpio. I believe that. Laws of attraction. What goes around comes around. But that's that. But I have no ill will to her because I don't know her. But with Josh, I will never initiate anything with him, because I don't feel that I've ever done anything to him. Now, if he comes to me and says, hey, this is what you did, then sure, I stand in my shit and tell him, like, I'm sorry. If I'm sorry, I may not be sorry. I don't know. I don't know what I did. And I'm just being real. But am I willing to give him, if he wanted to come to me or if she wanted to, absolutely, because you did that for me. He did that for me. Who would I be to not extend that to the next person? Will I sit in the middle of a shit show and a drag show? No. But if it can be something like what we just had, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we all at some point all cared for each other in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna be rooting for that and praying for that, and I just thank you once again, and I'm wishing you the best in your endeavors, Andrea, as it relates to your case and all of the things you're trying to get done as it relates.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question to you, Andrea. So Marco said, well, Andrea, can you apologize for saying you would slap her in the face or support Daryl slapping her in the face?
She posted my 5-year-old daughter. No, I will not initiate that apology.
Oh, okay.
She posted a 5-year-old child that's innocent and had nothing to do. Now, again, this isn't to cause drama, but you're asking a question. Yeah. Again, let me say this. I will apologize when I feel that I am wrong or I am proven that I am wrong, for sure. Will I do it today? Will I do it tomorrow? I don't know. But, again, some actions cause a reaction. That's like, okay, Larry, when I first came out to you about Victor, there were things that I had done that were wrong, and I acknowledged that to you behind the scenes and publicly, right or wrong.
True.
Now, if I could do that with Victor after everything he put me through, I could do that with Miko, but again, I truly don't know this woman. I've never met her. I've never had a conversation. I don't know her. She started attacking me. I was only responding to her attack. It wasn't like I attacked her and then she did something and then no. She literally started. I literally responded. It was a reaction to her action. She posted my 5-year-old child and I told her I would slap the fuck out of her and I meant what I said and I said what I meant. Why are you posting my 5-year-old child? That is a little girl who is innocent, has nothing to do with nothing, and I haven't posted nobody's child. You play with my child, all bets are off. So, no, I said what I said, and I meant what I said.
Okay.
I will not apologize for that. Now, if she came to me and said, Andrea, I apologize for posting your daughter, absolutely. I could apologize for that because if she sincerely can come and say, you know what, Drea, I had a moment, I shouldn't have did that. I can say, well, you know what, sis, I apologize. I could do that for sure, but I'm not just going willy-nilly be like, I'm sorry. No, you posted my daughter. What did you think was going to happen?
Shamarko, don't you ask no damn more questions. Leave Shamarko questions unanswered. Overlook them.
Okay, let's go.
Jesus. All right, well, y'all guys heard it first.
I have no problem. I hope, honestly, I hope that everybody could get along in the end.
Yes.
Because Miko's a woman. She has a powerful voice. She's a beautiful woman. I personally have no beef against that girl. I just don't know her, but she came for me. But I think she's a beautiful woman. I love that she does cosmetology. Larry can tell you I do hair.
Yeah.
No secret about me. I braid. I do all that. So I support what she does and all of that. But I hope one day everybody can come to.
I hope so too, because I know she is interested in having a direct conversation with you. So I do hope that you guys.
At least we know what can initiate it. At least we know what can initiate it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. All right, Larry's ready to go and raise his blood sugar. I'm going to let y'all go. Make sure y'all comment, share, and subscribe and do all that good jazz. I know y'all going to continue to talk your mess. I love you. I know y'all love me. Andrea, we good, girl. Larry, thank you, and we're signing off. Namaste, folks.
Bye-bye.